Welcome, Sage. How are you doing? Are we back? Ah, good. I have got to get a booster to this side of the house. I don't have enough juice back here. That's what it is. Not enough juice. Give me 20 seconds. I'll be right back. I was going to tell you to get a booster. Yeah, I need a booster. Give me 20 seconds. Sorry about that. Let's do some work. What do we got? Um, have I quantified the value of Canadian oil discounts? You speaking about the differential to WTI? I mean, I could do it pretty quickly. I haven't done it, um, but um, yeah, it wouldn't be that hard to do, honestly. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining me today. Um, kind of why I'm doing these early lives the way I am is to work the bugs out because I got a all I need, but I heard people say the U.S. only has 5 or 6 years of oil supply left. That's no, that's not true at all. That's it's not even close. It's much more than that. If we only had that much left, we would be in a national emergency right now. 'Cause, 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 Please share the live if you can. Um, yeah, Dave, I would just say $10. Um, just a back of the envelope deal. I would say $10, uh, and multiply that times 4.5 million. So $45 million a day. Uh, and do that times 365. I mean, that's just a quick, back of the envelope thing. I haven't done a ton of research on it because technically it's not a discount. Um, that's just an industry term, but 16.5 billion a year back of the envelope. Hello, Scott from Peoria. Didn't Trump declare an energy emergency? Yes, he did. I I, I I don't know why, but yeah, he did. Hello, Bait. How are you? Hi, Andrea. Yes, to get the base riled up. That sound good? They're waiting for all the drilling to start. Well, that figures. Well, I'm connected to a 5G. Hello, Juju. Audio is good. Good. Haven't asked anyone. Hey, Smarty Pants. What it takes in timeline to build a new refinery? It takes many years, depending on a lot of been working on a refinery for 3 years in Oklahoma and, haven't even broke ground, right? So, a lot of it depends on delays in permitting. A lot of it depends on lawsuits. Land deals tend to fall through. Like there's so much to building a refinery, and that's why we just typically just expand existing facilities and expand their capacity because it's so hard to build a refinery in the United States. I I wouldn't even think about it. Like I wouldn't even consider it if I had the money to do it. It's not even. It wouldn't even cross my mind. It wouldn't even occur to me to build a refinery in the United States. But you're looking at 8 to 10 years, easy, easy. Data centers in Texas and what it could mean for local oil and gas. It'll mean a lot for, I mean, um, one data center needs as much power. Okay, not energy, but power. Keep in mind, power and energy are two different things. One data center needs as much power as 80,000 homes. So you're looking at uh, massive increases in demand for electric power in an area that's largely, they do have a lot of renewable power, but it's going to be eaten up, and the natural gas is going to have to step up too. So, lot of natural gas consumption with data centers coming in the United States. That's why there's so much, one of the reasons there's so much upward pressure on natural gas demand in the United States. They expect the demand globally to increase to 4%, which is an outrageous number. It may not sound like a lot, but when you're talking about demand increases, that's an unbelievably high number. So we'll see. I don't know that we'll hit 4%, but even if it's 2%, that's a lot. So, do you believe Canada should diversify and export to Europe? Yeah, they absolutely should. You know, if if they want, if Canada wants to sell its oil at a tight differential to WTI, that's what they're going to have to do. Could we see reduced sanctions on Russia? So, the words could and Donald Trump, I mean, you could see anything. Do I think we will? No, I don't think we will. Because even with the sanctions in place, they're still putting a lot of oil on the market. So, you know, the sanctions are hurting the value of their currency and it's hurting their economy, but they're still selling oil, you know. Um, so what's the trade-off? Trump talked about data centers having their own bricks of clean coal. I I hadn't heard that, but I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Uh, yeah, I hadn't heard that. Have I ever given my thoughts on who sabotaged the Nord Stream? I have no idea. I I would just be speculating, and I mean, I'm I'm sure it's. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm sure. If I had to guess, I'd say the United States, but who knows? Thank you, Sean. Tommy says Ukraine. You know, could have been. NATO. Yeah. I mean, just you could literally just pick anybody because it just, you know. Is that Mike Stanek? How are you, Mike? Trump thinks the storage of coal will help power data centers. Did I already say that? Yeah. Was Nord Stream operational at the time? It was, but I think it was only running at like 20% capacity. Like um it wasn't running at full capacity. Do you think Trump will help Putin? Um I really don't. And the only thing I have to go on is the history there. And there was a lot of talk about Russia interfering with the election and helping Donald Trump and all that, and you can believe that that happened, and you can also believe that Donald Trump still hammered Russia with sanctions and everything throughout his last presidency because both of those things occurred, right? So, um, I haven't seen, from what I've seen, just being unbiased and honest about it, he has been as hard on Russia as anybody else. And whether they did things, even if it may have been at his request, to help him get elected, I don't think we saw that sort of returned to Russia. I haven't seen Donald Trump do anything that favors Russia in his first administration or the second, even if they helped him. You know, he maintained all sanctions that were in place when he took office last time, and he even put more on them. So I don't think he will, but you never know. Am I concerned about my safety talking about the industry? No. I'm not concerned about my safety. Uh, did you see the scene in Landman where he's talking about the windmills? Yes. And I mean, basically nothing he said was correct. He basically repeated a bunch of misinformation. So that's a great question, Smarty Pants. And I'm going to read it. If a northern U.S. refinery buys a month contract of WCS, which is Western Canadian Select, to import, are they paying the market price for WCS, or is there some further discount built into the USMCA? Now, I have read the USMCA twice. There is no further discount. They're paying the market price. Um, and the market is, a lot of people get this word discount confused. And the word discount has a little bit of a different meaning than it means at down here at Walmart. It doesn't mean it's that doesn't mean it's on sale. When one commodity trades at a discount to another commodity, that just means it's cheaper because that's what the market will bring. The seller isn't saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a 20% discount." That's not a thing. That's not what that word discount means. It just means it's cheaper than another commodity that also trades, right? That doesn't mean that they're putting it on sale. That doesn't mean they're selling it cheaper. And the reason they're not selling it at the type of discount that people think is because they can't get any more for that oil than they are currently getting. So the discount has a little bit of a different meaning in commodities and especially in the energy sector than it does like in a retail sector. It's the oil's not on sale. Um, that's what the market brings because they don't have any buyers. If you go to an auction and you got one guy bidding at an auction, he's going to get that shit cheap, right? If you go to an auction with 100 bidders, right, it's going to drive the price up. That's the same concept of the discount in the energy industry and with Canadian oil. So Canadian oil companies aren't saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you this oil for 20% off." That's not a thing. The oil is heavier, um, and you need more. Um, you need a more complex refining setup to refine it. Yes, but once you have that refinery in place um, and are processing that oil, it's not much more expensive. Like it's not so much more expensive to refine that it has a huge impact. The biggest impact on the price of Canadian oil is its marketability, and by marketability, logistics, ability to deliver to customers and the number of customers, those type of things, um, and the number of customers that have the capability to refine it. Yeah, the the things that Billy Bob Thornton said about you got to keep in mind it's a TV show. I mean, geez, Louise. Yeah, there's a function at the junction for sure. Um, I'm gonna have to call my internet company and get a router in this room because my router's all the way on the other side of my damn house. Can you guys hear me? Am I back? Awesome. On Landman, they look like working the oil fields is incredibly hazardous. How bad is it really? It's not as bad as they make it look, but it is one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. So, there's and all of the accidents and incidents they've showed on Landman are just ridiculously stupid. They're not even in the realm of being possible that can happen. Like they're dumb. They're really dumb. So oh man. Welcome, Donna. Cha Cha, Sean. Thank you guys for sticking around. Do any of the major oil companies do anything notable in the area of humanitarian aid? Yeah, I don't have specific data, but um they have entire departments that are part of their public relations departments that do all that charity stuff. Yeah. Nine one one. What is that? Ether? Have the major energy companies stayed committed to the Paris climate goals this time around? Yeah, they have. Yes. Anti-gel. Oh, okay. Who has the upper hand when it comes to the tariffs? I don't think it really matters who has the upper hand. I think it's all going to end pretty quickly. You know, we went through all of this the last time. This is the exact same playbook that we went through last time, and it just wasn't as talked about as much because probably because people weren't as fearful as the Trump administration when he was first elected than he is this time. Not that they weren't, but they're more fearful now. So, um, I don't think I don't really believe these tariffs are going to be around for long, and you're gonna see impacts to prices and markets and stuff. But I really think all this is short term. We've been through this before, so. And we he didn't get anything out of it the first time, so I don't know. Did you see my question on the Santa Ynez unit and Sable Offshore above? I just learned about it, and I'm very curious to hear an expert's opinion on the matter. I haven't heard about that. I would have to look that up and dig into that. Are they planning to drill those leases? Because you said Sable Offshore. That would be Southern California. Those leases have been held for decades, so they can still drill there. Um, the drilling bans aren't really drilling bans. It's when they stop leasing, and those companies hold those leases for decades, so they can still drill there. How long do you think Trump will be around? I don't know. Do you think they'll get rid of him? I'm surprised he's still around now. I mean, honestly. So, uh, I don't think the economy can tolerate the instability of tariffs on, tariffs off. Yeah, it'll have harmful impacts on the economy for sure. I don't think it's going to collapse or anything, but um, we'll just have to see. We've been through this before, and it was. And maybe that's why I'm like, we've been through this before and nobody noticed it much. Like, so maybe that's why I'm not too extremely worried about it. I just think it's dumb, but we'll just have to see how long they last, I guess. Yes, California has heavy oil. That's right. NAFTA became the USMCA, and some could argue that we're actually worse off with the USMCA as far as the United States. I think most people argue that it's basically the same thing. Yeah, he still won. Inflation data. Yeah, I saw the inflation data, and I'd like to see what it says next month. Um, is Venezuela in American sights? Yes, they are for sure. these little. Am I back? Rick Sell, thank you so much for your bronze membership. I really appreciate that. I'm about to start making a list of all the things I need. A Mr. Global Beanie? Better start what now? Yes, class is back in session for the moment. For the moment. I may swap to my phone here pretty soon. Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever hear of the biggest offshore auction ever to an oil company off the Northeast coast? I have heard about that. I can't remember. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to Google it, but I do remember that. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of wind energy, but I'm talking about, yeah, like what you're talking about, oil. How much wood, steel, and aluminum tariffs affect oil and gas? Quite a bit. Oil and gas does not run without steel. So the steel would have the biggest impact on oil and gas. And it would add to the cost of drilling. For sure. It would add to your well cost. So Hey, Trey, I'm looking for your question. My town is up in arms over a solar farm being built on my high school friend's land. I'm with him, but scared to say so in rural red Texas county. Is solar bad? No, solar's not bad. And, if that's your friend's land and he owns it, that's between your friend and, you know, the solar company or the solar company. I, you know, what percentage of a barrel of oil's potential energy actually makes it to a gas pump? About a little under 50%, a little under 50%. And then you have to think of the efficiency of what is running on that energy, the power efficiency of it, right? So but it's roughly 40%. Yeah, we had thunder and lightning and ice storms last night where I'm at. You're welcome, Scott. Winter storm warning in southeast Michigan. It's been a bit of an active winter this year. Why are pipelines made of metal and not like thick molded plastic? I mean, you can literally fuse plastic pipe together and therefore no possibility of a leak. Um, well, pipelines operate under pressure. And so there is a lot of forces that are being placed upon pipelines internally and externally. And I would not want plastic pipelines. No. Now, what they do have these days, the pipelines are steel, but they're coated. They're coated um, with different types of coating. So When a pipeline leaks, it's usually due to some type of corrosion that has occurred in the pipe over time. You sent me a message on IG. I don't ever look at IG. Mary does not like stopping for gas. You know, I don't either, but I mean, yes, you can. You can send it to me on TikTok. Yeah, so if you think about pipelines and the amount of force that is present, um, everywhere there's a connection, either a weld, right? Um, you do a basic force calculation, you know, even if there was just 50 pounds of pressure on that pipeline, if you were to calculate the force on where that pipe is welded together, say it's a 48-inch pipe, and you did a force calculation on where that's connected, it would be an unbelievable amount of force that is placed on that connection pretty much 24/7, right? And you don't want plastic. You don't. I gotta save your live. People hate missing it. We need a warning. I can start you on Discord. Yeah, I'm gonna start scheduling these, but these first however many lives I'm doing are just kind of a test run. As you can see, I had to figure out my setup, and because before I bring anyone in and interview them, I want to make sure everything's right. I don't want to have one of these failures. Um, okay, Trey. What are some properties of oil and gas companies that you'd consider when thinking about investing in energy over the next few years? Um, what I mean, the main thing I would consider is what their role is in the industry, and because the industry is very fragmented and segmented, and there's industries within the industry. Where's the most demand within the industry is what I would be looking at. And that's why when anybody asks me about investing, I always point them to the midstream sector. It's the most reliable, safest. It just is. The midstream sector has it made. All they got to do is move shit around, you know. Is the stream still in and out, or is it ever over? Or not that it really matters. I still got to fix it, but. Why do oil pipelines burst? Are the connection points not overbuilt enough? So actually, the welds where pipeline is welded together is actually stronger than the pipe itself. Yeah. So now, anything you put in a pipeline is going to have corrosive properties in it. Especially the more heavy or sour the crude is you're putting in it, it'll be more corrosive. And over time, all those things just eat away. You have that, you have ground moisture, temperature. There could be things in the soil that are slightly corrosive. There's just, but it's mostly corrosion. It's not so much pipe connections or welds. Well, an earthquake, does crude freeze? It's got to be very cold. Like it's got to be very cold. That also depends on the specific gravity of the crude oil and the chemical makeup of it, at like what temperature it freezes. Um, you know, mostly your gases and different kinds of gases, hydrocarbons and molecules that exist in the crude oil, what type and how much of certain gases will also alter the freezing point of crude oil. It will freeze. It will freeze. But it's got to be cold as shit. And yeah, earthquakes can absolutely have an impact on pipelines. Are newer pipelines better engineered to withstand corrosion? Yes, absolutely. The biggest protest point is not wanting a spill on the land. Is that less a concern now than in the past? Um, I would say that it is less of a concern, but I would also say that we're talking about things that are um, assembled by people who make mistakes, and some of those mistakes may not be seen for years down the road. And that's the thing. You can make a mistake on a pipeline that you don't know about until 10 years later. You see what I'm saying? Because a slight weakness somewhere takes years to show itself. So there's always the human factor. Oil is much more complicated than I ever knew, many different kinds, and they all need their own kind of refinery. They don't all need their own kind of refinery, like a refinery that has a setup in place to process heavy sour crude. They can also refine light sweet crude. It's harder and requires more equipment to refine heavy crude, but they can still refine light sweet. Now, a refinery that's set up to just refine light sweet crude or lighter crudes, they cannot refine heavy sour crudes. I don't know when the pig was invented, but yeah, still use them every day. Yeah, they use them for scale, to maintain scale in pipelines and natural gas pipelines. They use them um, to get liquids out of the pipeline. You can get a lot of liquid in a natural gas pipeline, and it reduces the efficiency of it and the flow rates of it. There's a lot of low spots in pipelines where liquids can settle out. But yeah, they still use them. Some pigs are smart. I've seen crankcase oil so dirty and cold that a wrench would float on top of it. Yeah,